Yep. There it was. Okay, go ahead.
We are on a mission. Like you, we watch the news every day and we hear. We are on a mission. Like you, we watch the news every day and we are discouraged by our rapidly changing climate and plastic pollution threatening the world's oceans. So we felt a calling to step up and do something about it. So we're changing our lives completely and setting sail for good.
So as we explore the spectacular coast of British Columbia, we'll visit remote coastal communities, photograph humpback whales, grizzly bears, and hopefully avoid the giant thunderstorms along the way.
We knew very little about sailing. To be honest, neither of us had ever set foot on a sailboat. We just wanted to make a contribution to the cause. What are you making?
Pizza?
It wasn't always easy, but over time, we learned to live aboard our tiny home. Getting groceries could certainly be a challenge. We lived completely off grid a lot of the time.
That's stuck. Let's go. Come on, baby.
I learned I wasn't as fit as I thought.
Lord. Come on, Gene. Where are you? Hello, Sailing for Good is in Kinkham Inlet.
In the Great Bear Rainforest.
We discovered the wonder that is sailing. The beautiful silence of a coastal rainforest. It was a perfect writer's retreat. Cooking in the small galley became second nature.
So this is a rockfish that we're not fishing for sport for. We're gonna have dinner. But Vanessa has reservations about dispatching with the fish so that we can eat it. But anyway, and so do I, because it's kind of a cool fish. I'm sure it would taste good. They say they taste really good. But this guy's not destined for the dinner table. We'll just get this. We'll get him back for another day. Get the suck out of his mouth. There you go, rockfish. Bye-bye. Here.
We learned life aboard for good was not always good.
I'm trying to summarize in this sort of vain iPhone in the face way the last few months. It's been amazing, terrifying, stressful, beautiful, and just everything rolled into one. It's like life on steroids. I've wanted to, or seriously considered quitting. It's it's a bit much sometimes. A bit much is an understatement, but I worry about Vanessa. She's no way she's quitting, but she's pretty stressed a lot of days, and I'm no help because I have my own stress. So we're both stressed. So we've had some problems, and we don't get along some days at all. But we always seem to get through it and get back on track fairly quickly. I wish we could just stop having these problems, but I don't know if they'll go away or we'll work through it, but I can't complain too much. We're living in a sailboat and we're free as far as that goes. Although one is never free. We have a lot of responsibilities and people to sort of, we're trying to build an audience. We have patrons, we have A lot of stuff to look after. Worried about what kind of film to make and where to make it and who to interview and try to find wildlife. I don't know. It's one day at a time, I guess, in this life, no matter what you do. Whether you're sailing or working in a factory. One day at a time.
We sailed to the tiny fishing village of Sointula and found some kindred spirits.
I mean, when I was a kid growing up in Vancouver, I lived on a float home under the Second Narrows Bridge.
Oh, cool.
And so, yeah, it was really cool, but it was also really like, you know, under the Second Narrows Bridge in the 70s and I guess through the 80s or to the mid 80s. I remember it was like also really dirty. Like it was beautiful and cool, but like a lot of garbage would go by and we'd see
Right.
just in our what would be our backyard, but the ocean there, like, you know, it was kind of gross. And I loved living there, but I remember worrying about the ocean then and when I was little. And there's like my mom and dad have you know, a box of things that my sister and I did when we were little, art and craft projects and stuff. And there's like this poetry I wrote starting in grade 4 that's like totally depressed environmental poetry about like the state of the ocean and about
Hi. Are you guys okay with being on camera? We're doing a Sailing for Good project. We're sailing around BC and featuring stories with an environmental theme. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, what are your names?
I'm Kathleen.
Kathleen?
I'm Louise.
Louise. Okay, great. Tell me about your wraps. I have beeswax wraps on the boat actually, and they're fabulous, so tell me.
Well, it's just basically a fundraiser that we're doing for the garden, for the community garden. And a group of us have gotten together to build these to have no more saran wrap in your house.
Absolutely.
And they work great.
It was really inspiring to me to listen to these kids who were really wanting to, you know, go back to the way, you know, their grandparents lived. They were, you know, they were sort of rejecting the commercial, I don't know, buy it all the time kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think that the sense of community can be demonstrated right here in this garden, just because it is a community garden and everyone's expected to help out, correct?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we actually have on the sign-up sheet when you become a member, you know, you're expected to attend the work parties, and people do. They do. And we have fun. You know, we have lots of fun with it. Yeah. The people that live here are very community minded, and they're also very globally minded. You know, they want to see the big picture. And I'm not sure why a lot of environmentalists and people that are very active in making change have moved here. I just find the place has a spirit like that.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to get a month to get it.
Yeah. Well, maybe can you send me a link to the one that you got or something so that, yeah.
It's good. Since 1997, I've been here collecting data on killer whale activity.
This is actually quite cozy.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's good. Even like right here, you know, you're under the wind. So I cook right here. All my food's like under there, and my whatever the other gear I have. Water. I've got to pick up some water today at my friend's down at the campsite because they brought it for me. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm out here for 3 months, from July 1st until October 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, looking for whales.
Wow. And do you do this voluntarily? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, I get some funding sometimes for gear
Yeah.
or something, but never for pay. No, it's always been a volunteer project.
And you just did it because
Well,
for the good of Canadians, you know, for the whales. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was certainly compelled to do this research when I started, with the idea that I could share that with Canadians and, future generations, Fisheries and Oceans Canada. But it's changed over the years. I have done that and I continue to do that, but with all this knowledge that other people can share, and you can use that information in conjunction with their information, we can find a bigger picture about what's actually going on with the northern residents in this particular area, or even anywhere else when it comes to that. In order to make a really big change, we're going to have to do this together.
I think when you are worried about, climate change, etc., bringing a kid into the world is actually quite scary. Yeah. And there's so many unknowns. Life is always like that, but I feel like this is a really intense time for that. And we don't know the world that we're leaving to our kids and our grandkids. And so, I think about this a lot with having this little boy and all the things that we have to explain to him. I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to, he doesn't yet know the words Donald Trump, and I don't ever want him to, or climate change, or, he's started to sort of hear a bit about that for sure. But, so there is an impulse that I really understand that a lot of people have, which is just to not have a kid. And I really understand. I understand thinking, well, first of all, there's too many people already on this planet for our resources, or what. I understand all of that. But for me, and Tyler, when we decided to have a child, part of it was like a hopeful and almost even defiant act. Like I just am like, it's not that I think if you don't have a kid, that means you've lost hope or anything. But for us, like I just was like, I think, we're just not giving up.
Soft sea breezes, starlight glitters in the
My sister Terry and Wally got married when they were about 17 or 18. And they've been happily married ever since. They've been inseparable, actually. I don't know if they've spent a night apart, maybe one or two over the years. But Wally is dying, and he's had cancer. He's been fighting it with chemo and the usual suspects for 5 years. And the chemo stopped working. Just seeing him, imagining my sister, what she's going to do. They have 2 daughters, lots of grandchildren. They're all extremely close. Life is short. It's just shockingly short. I don't know if this is the answer, but we'll keep sailing for good as long as we can.
West Coast, Vancouver Island North. Seas 2 to 3 meters, subsiding to 1 to 2 late overnight. Highest waves may be more than twice forecast values.
We pushed on for a circumnavigation of the massive Vancouver Island. If only we could live as joyfully as these two. Well, it's September 8th today. We're in a beautiful little anchorage in the Broken Island Group, Pacific Rim National Park, west coast of Vancouver Island. Last night we were floating around in the dinghy trying to get close to a humpback whale that was feeding. Just beautiful to watch. A great blue heron landed on our dinghy when we were sitting on the boat last night, and just sat there and preened and stared at us, and it was just like a gift. It was just a beautiful, magic moment. We've had quite a go of it, and engine problems, and we got out in some big swells, and it was not fun. Vanessa was terrified, incapacitated with fear. We had to emergency anchor in a strong current, call a sea tow company. Guy came and towed us. The whole thing again was really stressful. I spent a couple of days working on the engine. We've had a lot of help, and friends we've met along the way as well really helped us out. You know, I think the whole friends thing, the people we've met have been like Paul and Kathy from Britain, who are now sailing off to Mexico. We were going to go with them, and we decided we just weren't ready. Fair winds and following seas, dear friends. We've really tried to do something big with our lives, and this has been big.
Hi.
It's September
16.
2019. And we are now sailing, well, we're motoring because the winds have been extremely light all day. Back to Gibson's. We're about half an hour outside of Gibson's right now after, over 5 months circumnavigating Vancouver Island and everywhere we've gone. So this is kind of where it all started. And it's looking like this is where it's going to all end. We got a few things to do here over the next month, and that'll make the 6-month mark. And we decided in the last few days that sailing a boat is full-time, and so is filmmaking. So you got to choose one or the other. So some other opportunities are presenting themselves. We want to keep doing good, and that's the main thing. And so we'll see where the future takes us. We don't know everything yet, but
we've had so much fun, and we feel like we've done a pretty cool thing, and we're pretty proud. So it's bittersweet because we really wanted to keep going, but it's too much. We want to have more time to do good things.
Yep, and just stretch out like a house watching TV.
It's really accessible too.
It is, yeah.
Short one.
Yeah, and then you got the spare. So they last a long time.
Yeah. Are those wooden spreaders?
Yeah.
They are. That's awesome.
That's the one thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Got the cherry on the but
Yeah.
never mind. Keep the two of them.
Chris bought for good and promised he would take good care of her.
It's got no sails though.
No what?
It's got no sails. Thank God. No, I'm just kidding.
We decided to keep Terry company for a while.